I've driven a lot of amazing cars over the years. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Bugattis. But this is the new Porsche 911 GT3 Touring, and it might just be the best of them all. Now, what makes it so good, you might ask? Well, look at the spec for a start. This is beautiful. Whoever at Porsche Great Britain spec'd this one, well done to you. It's oak green metallic neo paint. We've got the lightweight pack, which adds magnesium wheels, which I think look absolutely brilliant. Black wheels can get in the bin, quite frankly. These are the business. Center locks as well. Perfect. Not too much carbon, not too much visible carbon. It's just black plastic, and I know that sounds a bit rubbish, but I prefer it. I prefer it to loads of exposed carbon. Although the front is carbon, the bonnet there, and also the roof is made of carbon fibre. That's also part of the lightweight pack. Chrome trim on the windows. Oh, it's just perfect. It rides, I think, 20 millimeters lower than the standard Carrera. You'll notice as well, because it's the touring model, it doesn't have a rear wing like the standard GT3, and that is also a good thing. I feel really silly driving cars with big wings on the public road. Perfect on a track day, less perfect for the rest of the time. This element does come up in track mode and above certain speeds. I just think it looks better. It's cleaner, and it just fits the spec so well, doesn't it? The sensible colour, the sensible wheels, perfect. Twin exhaust at the back, sports exhaust as standard on the GT3 Touring and regular GT3. The wheels, oh, they're just great, aren't they? In car design, it's sort of known that the ratio between the wheel and the height of the car should be about 2:1, in that the car should be about twice as tall as the wheel, and the Porsche 911 is pretty much the only sports car to still get that right. That 20mm ride drop over the standard Carrera is really obvious here. Look at this. Look at it. I could barely get my hand in that gap. It just sits so nicely. It's got real stance, real presence, but because it hasn't got the wing, because it hasn't got loads of carbon, because it's a sensible colour, nobody looks. In a really good way, nobody really looks at this car. I've been driving it for the last 5 days now, and no one cares. You can just go about your business driving what other people think is a Porsche 911, whereas actually it's a GT3 and you're having the time of your life at any speed. I'll come back to that later. As you can tell then, I quite like this car. In fact, I really like it. I loved it the moment I saw it on Porsche's website. I loved it even more when I got sent the spec sheet and I knew it would be this colour with those wheels and the interior. I'll come to that later as well. But that's enough chat, I think, partly because it's really cold and I want to go for a drive. So come on, let's get going in the GT3 Touring. Bucket seats as well. Oh, right. So a bit of housekeeping then before we get started. This is the 992.2 generation of 911. We've seen a few of these now. We've seen the standard Carrera, we've seen the Carrera T, we've seen the new turbo as well. That whining, if you can hear that, that's the nose lift going up. And it knows to do that because I pressed it to go over that speed bump a few days ago and it said, would you like to save that location? So you say yes, and then it remembers. So now, going over all these bumps is much easier. 992.2, we've seen quite a few of them now. The turbo is on its way soon. We haven't seen a GT3 RS yet. So 2 flavours of GT3. GT3 with the wing, which I actually drove on track recently at the Top Gear track. And I'm going to come to that shortly and drop a bit of video in to show you what this car's like on track. And then you've got the Touring without the wing, with automatic PDK gearbox or a manual like we have here, 6-speed. And the Touring can, for the first time in GT3 spec, be ordered with rear seats, which this car has. No cost option. Now that's the case across most 992.2 911s. But not the GT3 with the wing, because you get a roll cage there instead. And the Touring is available with the lightweight pack, which this car has. And then the one with the wing is available with the Visarc pack, which this car isn't. So there's quite a few different options, different permutations of GT3, more than ever. Oh, it sounds so good. Oh. So at one end of the scale, you can get a GT3 that's ready for the track, with a wing, with carbon brakes, with a Visarc pack, with a roll cage, magnesium wheels, and a PDK gearbox, because that's a bit quicker. And at the other end of the scale, you can have this. You can have the touring, no wing, manual gearbox, rear seats. Let's press the nose lift over this bump. And then if you still want your GT3 Touring to be a bit sporty, you can go for the lightweight pack and get the magnesium wheels. So there really is a GT3 for everyone. And I think what I wanted to demonstrate a little bit today is that this car could be used every day. It could be your daily. And I'm proving that by parking in the supermarket and getting some lunch. Right, lunch bought, car refueled. Let's just talk quickly about the spec while it warms up. We know this, don't we? It's a flat six, it's a 911, rear engined, of course, boot in the front, small seats in the back. 4 litre, of course, and because it's the GT3, it's naturally aspirated. All the other 911s now are turbocharged in some way or another. Some of them are twin turbo, and then the GTS is 1 turbo but with hybrid, and the Turbo and Turbo S are also turbo and hybrid. But the turbo is turbocharged, and the other ones that aren't called turbo are also turbocharged. It's all a little bit confusing, but what you need to know is this. It doesn't have a turbo, doesn't have hybrid, it's naturally aspirated, it revs to 9,000 RPM, 500 horsepower, 503, I think, 510 to be precise, 503 brake horsepower, I think. 450 newton meters of torque, 0 to 62 in 3.9 seconds. A little bit quicker if you've got the automatic gearbox, naturally, because it takes a bit longer to shift yourself. 194 miles an hour top speed. Now, what I like about this is that all that is pretty much the same as the previous generation of GT3. And even the one before that. They've all been quite similar for a while now, sort of 500 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3 and a bit, nearly 4. But that doesn't matter, because this car isn't about just ridiculous straight line speed. That's for, well, initially it was for the GTS, and now it's for the Turbo and the Turbo S. They are monsters in a straight line. Whereas this car has the sort of power and the sort of performance where it's usable. Accelerating down the slip road onto a motorway, you're going to have a whale of a time going through second and third gears. Yeah, it's the sort of car that you get enjoyment from on pretty much every single journey. Whereas the GTS, which I've driven, the Turbo I haven't driven yet, that's the sort of car where a little bit of acceleration and you've lost your license. This is just a more approachable amount of power, a more usable amount of power, and that leads me on to say, like I said earlier, this could be, in touring spec, an everyday car. I think it rides better than the GTS as well. I'll come back to that later. Price, £158,200 in the UK. I believe the price for the Touring and for the GT3 with the wing are the same. They start at the same price. Touring can have the rear seats added for free. GT3 with wing can't. And then the options on this car, the green paint, £3,235. Extra leather in here. I love this actually. The detail on the leather here, it kind of looks woven. It's really nice. There is a bit of carbon, but just the right amount, I think. And we've got carbon door pulls here, which I like. Now they're part of the lightweight pack, which also gets you a slightly shorter gear shift, which I think is borrowed from the 911 ST. A little badge there that says like German for lightweight. With that, you also get the magnesium wheels I mentioned earlier. You get a carbon fiber roof. The lightweight pack is expensive. There's no way around this. It's £29,223. This car also has uprated headlights, HD matrix LED main lights, £2,000. A bit more leather on the inside, another £1,000. The front lift is £2,700. That's quite a lot for something you're possibly going to need, depending on where you live. You know, you might have a steep drive, you might have some aggressive speed bumps nearby. Chrono pack with the clock there, the Porsche design clock on the dashboard. That is £1,468. Brake calipers painted black. You'd think they'd come black as standard, wouldn't you? But that's £708. The light design package is £431. I don't know what that is. Park assist is free at the rear. It doesn't have parking sensors at the front, I don't think. They didn't beep the other day anyway when I almost drove into the wheelie bin outside my house, but we don't need to talk about that. And finally, the Bose sound system is £1,269. So total price of this car is £203,714. It's an expensive car. There's no getting around that. It's about twice the price of a standard entry-level 911. Just shows how broad the 911 range is, doesn't it? That you can go from 100 and a bit to over 200 with the same model of car. But as I've said, very, very different to all the other versions of 911. Different engine, different gear shift, different design, different ride height, different suspension setup, double wishbones at the front on this. Yeah, it's a very different car. And of course, because there is a sport mode, you have to turn to sport mode, don't you? With the dial here. And it gets a bit louder. Oh, yes. Right then, now we're warmed up. Let's get going. Oh. It sounds so good. Auto blip. Oh. Oh. Whoa. That was 9. Oh. Unfortunately, you're at 60 and a little bit more, shifting from second to third. So, yeah, that's all you're getting in most of the UK. I know auto blip is lazy because it does a little blip for you when you're changing down a gear instead of heel and towing. Oh. But it just nails it every time, so yeah, just left it on. The steering as well is just lovely. It is on all 911s, but this one especially, it's just the eagerness to it. When I drove it on track a few weeks ago, that was my first impression was, wow, the steering is so good. And I got to drive around the Top Gear track at Dunsfold Park on a beautiful sunny day in a GT3. So I'm just going to drop that in now and let you enjoy that. Welcome to Dunsfold Aerodrome, better known as the Top Gear track, and welcome to the new 911 GT3. Wow, this thing is absolutely mega. 4-litre flat 6, you know the spec, I don't need to tell you. Naturally aspirated, no turbos, no hybrid, 9,000 RPM. 510 horsepower. I'm just going to stop actually. Brakes are squeaking. Carbon brakes. I'm going to stop on the line and we're going to do a lap of the Top Gear track. So, we're in track, launch control, let's go! Oh. 60 in 3 seconds, 90, up to 100, 115, brake in a straight line, into the first corner. I'm just taking it easy, to be honest. We were doing some quicker laps earlier. Letting the car settle, accelerate out of the corner, left, brake in a straight line. Easy, patient, patient, patient. Go. Noise. Brake. Brakes are good. Optional carbon ceramic. This car's also got the magnesium wheels, a £13,000 option. But this car's got about 60 grand of options on it, including the eyesight pack, the carbon buckets, little brake there, turn in. Oh! Need to follow through, clip the apex. Best day of my life! Brake into second to last, off the brakes, little surface change on the apex, brake, turn in early, into gambon, patience, and across the line. confession time. This is actually the first time I've driven a GT3. I've driven a lot of 911s in the last few years, and most recently I've been driving the entry-level Carrera, the Carrera T, and the GTS, the one with the mad hybrid system. But this is the first GT3. And it's as good as I'd hoped it would be. It's better, to be honest. It's absolutely incredible. Wow. Yeah, this car's on Cup 2 tyres, a quite aggressive tyre, and I haven't had a hint of slip from it at all. You know, it's late November, and it has been cold and wet and quite miserable this weekend, but this has been great. It's been perfectly usable, and it rides quite well. The GTS I thought was just too stiff, too firm. It jostles you around far too much, whereas this, well, I've just gone over some manhole covers there and it's fine. Sometimes you get sort of pushed around a bit and it loses its composure a little bit if you're really on a very bumpy road at quite a low speed. You get sort of thrown around a bit, but not as bad as the GTS. But these seats are good as well. They hold you so well. They're really snug, actually. You know, I'm small and these seats they feel tight. The back is fixed in that you can't adjust it. You can pull the toggle here to fold it forward to use the back seats. You can't adjust the angle. They're very upright, and the headrest especially is very, very close to you. Incidentally, you can take the headrest out if you're going to be wearing a helmet. So if you're taking your GT3 on a track day, which you should, you can pop that out and then your helmet fits more comfortably without it pushing your head forward. It's the eagerness. Yeah, car manufacturers love to say how good modern turbocharging is and how, oh, we've practically eliminated lag. And yeah, they kind of have, but then when you get back into a naturally aspirated car like this, you realise that this is just in another league of responsiveness. At 38 miles an hour, I'm happy because it just sounds like that. Porsche claims about 20 miles per gallon in this for like sort of average economy. I've seen 23, 24 on the motorway, which I was pretty impressed by. The problem is, you want to play it like a musical instrument all the time and make lots of noise, and then it doesn't do 20 miles per gallon. So far today, it's averaged 12. It sounds slightly more aggressive in track. So for 992.2, across the range now, we don't have an analog rev counter anymore, which is a shame, but you know, times change, and what that means is when you're in sport or normal, you have a standard rev counter with 0 at sort of 7 o'clock. When you go into track, it rotates to have the red line at 12 o'clock, to have 9,000 at 12. So when you're on track, you can see when you're approaching that red line just below where you're looking. Instead of having to look down further at the dial, you can just look, you can just glance down and see where the rev limit is. So in borrowing this car, I wanted to see if you could live with the GT3 and use it every day, and yeah, I've used it every day for 5 days. It's been my daily car. I had to go and collect this, so my car is at Porsche. It's comfortable enough. It's practical. It's really practical. All 911s are. We know this now because great big boot under the front. You could get a couple of carry-on suitcases in there. You could probably get a week shopping in there. I put quite a large chop saw in there that I was returning. We'd borrowed it for some DIY and it fitted no problem at all. Then you've got the rear seats, which again is space, right? You can maybe not put people, because there isn't much space back there, but you can put small kids, certainly, and you can just put stuff. Get another couple of bags, perhaps. I've got a bit of a bone to pick with Porsche. It's the new Cayenne, the electric Cayenne. Because that car, in turbo spec, has got like 1,200 horsepower. 1,200 horsepower, and it out-accelerates like hypercars. It does 124 miles an hour in 7.5 seconds or something like that, and 60 in under 3, and 1,500 Newton meters of torque. And you just think, why? Well, I know with electric drivetrains it makes it easy to do that, but Porsche knows that you don't have to make every new car more and more powerful, because the GT3 is no more powerful than the previous GT3. It found a winning recipe at about 500 horsepower and has stuck with it, and it's made improvements elsewhere. It's changed it visually, it's changed bits of the interior, the suspension, the steering. The next one might have a clever bit of hybridity, potentially, but it's stuck with the basic recipe and it works. It produces a fabulous car that isn't wanting for more power. And yet at the other end of the same company, they're trying to justify an SUV with more power than a Bugatti Veyron. Porsche knows what it's doing with interiors as well. Lots of buttons on the steering wheel and physical switchgear. It's all easy to use, easy to understand. All of your safety rubbish with the lane departure and the speed limit beep, it can be switched off with a button. Physical controls for your climate too. Nice big toggles for temperature and fan speed and media volume. And a lot of manufacturers could learn from Porsche's approach to physical switchgear. I should talk about the negatives because there are a couple. Not many, but there are a couple. One is the cup holders sort of in the middle here, which is kind of annoying because it's in the way of the gear stick. You kind of feel yourself reaching around your drink to change gear, which is just stupid really. It's kind of telling that in the glove box there is an alternative insert for this that gets rid of that cup holder, and the passenger one is over there, so I suppose you could just about reach that from the driver's seat if you wanted to. Another negative, again it's something with all 911s, all recent 911s, is that it's quite loud in here. It's just road roar, tyre roar. It's really loud. I kind of thought it would be better in here because of the rear seats. I thought that would absorb quite a bit of it, but it's loud. I'm on a really smooth bit of motorway now at 55 miles an hour and I'm having to raise my voice. Another small gripe is, well, not a gripe, but an observation is whether I would have manual or automatic if I were to buy a GT3. Not that I am, but if I could. I'm quite short, I've got short legs, and the clutch pedal I find is a little bit of a stretch. So as much as it's a lovely gear change, it really is a nice, notchy change that requires a bit of effort, which is great. It's interaction with the car, it's good fun to use, but it means I'm just sat a little bit far forward. I've got the steering wheel as far forward as possible, and still I feel a little bit like I'd like to be sat a bit further back. But that's just a personal complaint. Oh, another small complaint perhaps is that it could do with a 7th gear, because this in 6th, I'm doing 70 miles an hour now, and it's just over 3,000 RPM. I'd like to just be able to find another gear, kill the revs, and just get a bit better fuel efficiency. So I suggested earlier that this might be the best car I've ever driven for modern cars. It's right up there. I would buy this over quite a lot of supercars, I think. If you're not in the market to spend 200 or 300 grand on a car, if you're spending more like this, 150 for the basic GT3 or touring, it's so tempting at that price. No one really knows what this car is. No one looks. I kind of expect them to, because I'm sat here having the time of my life driving it. And I kind of glance up at other drivers and pedestrians and think, oh, they're probably looking. It's a bit embarrassing. But they're not, because it's just a 911 to most people. It's the perfect Porsche, isn't it? It's the perfect 911. It's the 911 that you can use every day. It's the GT3 you could use every day, certainly. Just give me 500 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, manual gearbox, little seats in the back, boot in the front, a 9,000 RPM redline, and I'm happy.